Alright, so what we got going on today, YouTube, is we are going to be changing out the brakes on my 1981 K5 Blazer 4x4. I've got new calipers, brake pads, rubber hoses, and then new shoes and the hose for the rear. Whenever I'm stopping, sometimes it pulls to the right, so it's usually an indication of something wrong with the collapsed line or caliper sticking. So I'm just gonna eliminate all the equations and just replace everything. I'm gonna get some new wheel cylinders from O'Reilly's tomorrow for the rear. So I got my two calipers, hoses, pads for the front. Got my shoes, spring kit, hose for the rear. I'm going to be trying out this, several things new here. Trying out this Blake bleeder I bought from Amazon for like 26 bucks. Then I've got a couple of Craftsman 19.2 volt tools I'll be using, the C3, impact wrench, and right angle impact or driver. Then fluids, brake cleaner, wire brushes, tools, more tools. So I'm going to be using a new GeekPro action camera I bought from Amazon. Trying to be setting that up and using it as I go along. So, but just if anyone needs to know how to do a 1981 K5 Blazer 4x4 brakes, I'll be showing one side of the front, one side of the rear. Obviously the other sides are the same. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, just let me know. Thanks. Alright, so what we're doing today is we're going to do the brakes on a 1981 K5 Blazer 4x4, trying out a few new tools. This is the Craftsman 19.2 C3. I'm sorry, the lighting kind of sucks in here. But the C3 lithium ion battery. These, I don't know how loud these are going to be, but just, if you see me pull a tool out, I've got this and I got a right angle driver. Just turn your volume down. So I want to see how this works out. We got some impact sockets from Craftsman as well. So see if I can scare my dogs out of here. So this works. Doing pretty good. Alright, that actually went really smoothly. So not as loud as a air impact, but definitely a lot quieter, but just a little loud. So I've already got the car jacked up on jack stands appropriate for the vehicle. So now I'm going to move the tire over, gather up all my lug nuts, put them in a safe spot. Alright, so another tool we're going to be looking at here is the Craftsman little driver, right angle driver. See how this works. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. So drums look pretty nice, so I'll have to get them machined. That's pretty good. Now I'm replacing the brake hose, the caliper, and pad. So I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do if I was not replacing the brake hoses, which is I'm going to clamp it so I don't lose a lot of brake fluid. And I have, alright, so just double checking, making sure that that was the right caliber I picked. So that has a cool little feature on it. You can lock it. Not sure if you can see too well, but there's a little switch where you can have it for driver, or you can lock it and use it as just a regular ratchet. So I don't think this is going to do too well. I'm going to try, but I reckon these bolts loose. Maybe I had it in there wrong. So now, as you can probably see, it's set in there all the way, but you're not going to be able to see. Nope. Didn't think I'd have enough power to do it, so break out the old ratchet. Let's see what happens now that we broke it loose. See how much power this has. Well, yeah, unless you break it loose, it's not too bad. So we got the two cylinder bolts out. We got new bolts for it as well. So what I'm going to want to do now is clamp off that hose. Well, it doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's a fairly new hose, but I bought some new AC Delco. Clamp off that hose, make sure it is not going to drip out on me, or minimize the drippage. Then pull the caliper off, put the new brakes on, and then put the hose on as quick as I can. So do that now. And again, if you're planning on keeping the hose, I would not recommend clamping it. But since we're replacing, that's going to help any. But since we're replacing the hose, I guess it really doesn't matter. So we've got bolts out. That moves freely, which is a really good thing. Just go and grab the bucket so I can. This thing is completely filled with mud, which is probably why my brakes were pulling up to the right on me. Not sure if you can see that or not, but it's all mud, dried up mud. So brake pads are wore down a bit. So get the hang of changing these out. And again, if your rotors were not, I shouldn't be touching it, but if your rotors weren't smooth, if it had a lot of ridges and felt real rough when you ran your finger across it, you definitely would want to get them turned or get some new rotors. You always want to double and triple check, make sure your parts line up correctly to what's on there. You don't want to take stuff off and you have the wrong part and you gotta go get new parts. So this one will go there. It'll look identical. So that'll be good. I should have broke this when it was on the car. I don't know if you can see in here, there's literally a piece of mud that was inside the cylinder housing. That's no bueno. Alright, so the brake pads here. Look a little bit different than the ones on there. Yeah. Little metal tabs, so you just pull them off and use them on here. So it looks like this one goes on here. And like that. Just taking this piece off the old one, installing it on the new one. That's the piece there. Making sure I got all the pieces here. There we go. There's the new one. Alright, so this piece here, I put the old one on, I'm going to take it off. The new one was actually in the caliper box, so just pop this off. There we go. New one just slides right back on. that. Alright, I've got new brass washers for the brake hose, and new cylinder bolts. So let's start putting this back together. So this piece slides in here. Just like that. Another piece slides in there. Just like that. And then this slides over the rotor. There we go. So now I need to lubricate a couple pieces. Because I touched this with my hands on the rotor, I'm going to clean it. Make sure we got a good clean surface to work with here. Basically all I'm doing is just going through and cleaning off all the studs and getting all the as much dirt as I can out of there, just using a little wire brush. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up using some brake cleaner. We broke the hose off the caliper. So we're going to install the new caliper. We're going to lube all the pieces up that need to be lubed as you put it on your brake pads. When you get them in, they should have a box. It'll come with a little package of lube, and then it'll tell you what pieces need to be lubed. So I'm going to do that now. Go get me a knife to open the lube up with. Alright, so we got the lube opened up, and just looking at my pieces here on the box that the brake pads came in, looking to see which ones needed to have some lube put on. I'm assuming a little goes a long way because there is not much inside that little package. I should have bought some when I was at the store. Just a little comparison. New brake pad, old brake pad. See the difference in them? So going to stop here for a second and see if that's normal. Seems like there should be something that should go in there. I don't know if it's this piece, which I think it was for the other side. Alright, so on the driver's side, brakes. I don't know how well I'll be able to get into here and show you, but that's the brake line, the inside, the metal hose. That's a 9/16. There's a little clip that will hold the outer hose, the rubber hose, that you can replace. So on the passenger side, you have to access it through the wheel well, but on the driver's side you can actually get it right here underneath the steering column. Just wanted to show that. Alright, so this is the driver's side. Bleeding the brakes. Man, first and foremost, I got to give props out to Clowney. I think 1969, Clowney's Garage, Chris Fix, and El Camino guy. Watched a lot of their videos when I was restoring my El Camino, and got all these ideas through them. So, but I really didn't see too many videos on a 81, you know, like a full-size Chevy Blazer 80 K5. So figure I'd just do a quick video on them. But all this stuff is universal. They have way better videos than I do, and man, the editing they have to go through and position the cameras and all the other stuff they do, again, give them mad props. So right now all I'm going to do is break the bleeder valve. Alright. I'm hoping I don't get brake fluid all over my phone. Alright, so we got this opened, and just setting this right here. Make sure the hose is still in the fluid. It is. Make sure this is on good and snug. It is. Always check your brake master cylinder. Make sure you have brake fluid filled up, so you don't go dry. Otherwise, you gotta just rebleed all the brakes if it goes dry. So let's give this one a couple pumps. So I gave that a good solid 3 pumps, and just looked through my phone and saw that went through. So theory, this brake should be bled for the front. I'm going to check my master cylinder, cut my car on, pump the brakes, make sure they're not soft or go to the floor, make sure they're nice and firm, and then put the tires back on and probably give it a test drive. So alright, so what I basically did is I still have these fittings on there, and I went in basically just got a water bottle, drilled the top out for a little breather hole, and then one for this to sit into. And you want it kind of snug so it doesn't slide out while you're doing this. And you're going to feed this all the way down. This is the old fluid. I drained the master cylinder and put new fluid in. So you want this to sit all the way down underneath. set that down, and you basically just want to be able to make sure that once you bleed it, it is not going to come back up on you.